This is KSN, your hometown news.
Hello, I'm Tony Valliere with your KSN 16 news update. Severe storms swept through the 4 states last night with at least one confirmed tornado touching down in Bourbon County. KSN's Bonnie Bowman met up with officials and takes a look at the damage.
Debris like this is a common sight across Bourbon County today, as at least one confirmed tornado touched down during last night's storms. I'm joined now by Emergency Manager Keith Jeffers, who's been out touring the damage. Keith, what kind of damage have you seen across the county today?
Well, we've seen a lot of open barn structures that have been destroyed. Brick building at one location was taken down. A lot of power poles have been snapped off and trees are down.
What kinds of things have you heard from residents as you've been going around about what came through last night?
Basically the typical things of a tornado, the roar of the train noise and whipping wind, they felt that. The skies were kind of a greenish color. And then a lot of it was just rain-wrapped storm.
Now, we had the National Weather Service here as well. What kind of categorization have they put on what came through last night?
Currently, the preliminary determination is 80 to 90 mile-an-hour winds, which would put it about an EF0 to EF1 tornado, and at least one tornado at this point.
Okay, well, Keith Jeffers, thank you so much.
All right, thank you.
So we're lucky that we only had at least one tornado, possibly two, but again, no reported injuries, and it's been a busy start to this storm season. Now back to you.
Thanks so much. That's KSN's Bonnie Bowman reporting. Well, the tornado touchdown also wiped out power for more than 1,000 Southeast Kansas residents. Crews for Heartland Rural Electric Cooperative started working to restore power around 8 last night. About 1,200 customers lost power when the storms knocked out 25 to 30 poles and downed power lines. Officials say it's been a busy week for crews who were still working to clean up from Friday's storm.
This is spring, this is Southeast Kansas, so of course we're going to see storms, we're going to see wind, we're going to see hail, we're going to see flooding. We're prepared for that. Our guys know that this is that time of year and we're ready to handle it here.
As of this afternoon, a few hundred residents were still without power. Officials say crews should be finished restoring power to everyone by the end of the day. Last week's devastating storm left its impact on an area cemetery. Mount Hope Cemetery in Webb City had more than 30 trees that were destroyed. The trees were uprooted and blocked several of the roadways. Some of the trees were over 100 years old and split down the middle. One headstone was knocked off of its base, and that was only minor damage for the whole cemetery. Crews are working 12 to 14-hour days to clear the debris.
Well, it's worse than the ice storm. We lost dozens of trees during that ice storm, and a lot of damage then. But none of the trees were uprooted. We're not losing them totally as we are now.
The cemetery hopes to have all the trees cleared by Memorial Day. As the storm cleanup continues across the 4 states, many are choosing to burn their debris. The Joplin Fire Department is reminding everyone about how to burn safely in the city limits. KSN's Philip Mitchell has the details.
When it comes to clearing storm debris, some residents might choose to burn their limbs. Joplin Fire Chief Gary Trolson wants to remind residents about the proper procedures for burning.
The current rules for burning yard waste or branches and leaves and that require you to get a burn permit ahead of time before burning. You go either to City Hall on the 3rd floor.
Trolson says the permits cost $5 and can also be picked up at any fire station. Rumors were circulating earlier this week that during a disaster you don't need a permit to burn yard waste. However, Trolson says in the Joplin city limits that's not the case. He also says if you get a permit, you can't burn anything except yard waste.
Just yard waste, not shingles, not construction debris, but yard waste in just small piles, 3 foot in diameter up to 2 foot high, so just small piles of debris.
Trolson says the city has provided other ways for residents to dispose of limbs without burning.
There's a large amount of debris, and to try to remove all that through burning on the individual lots would be very dangerous and would cause not only a large amount of fire danger, but also a lot of smoke in the community.
Trolson says once you have the permit, you must also check in to see if the weather is appropriate for burning on your designated day. In Joplin, I'm Philip Mitchell, for KSN 16, your hometown news.
Now, if you have questions about burning or other ways of disposing your limbs and debris, you can call the City of Joplin. Their number is 417-624-0820. That's a brief look at today's top stories. I'm Tony Valliere.